Take that, them. That's right.
Yeah.
This is a beat them up. That's what we're doing right now. We're beating them up with love.
Ideally, I should have a sword. Hold on.
I'm holding.
Yeah. There you go. Sword action going on here. Some sword play.
I'm gonna hit you with motivation. Good things are going to happen in today's Turbo Throwdown. We're back, everybody.
We're back, bitches. It's been a minute.
It's been a while
since the last Throwdown. Yeah, and it's in the words of Stained, and it's been a while.
It's been a while since the Turbo
And it's
Throwdown
happened on Majora T, and it's been a while since. What the fuck was the last episode? Oh yeah, Congo Bongo versus Altered Beast.
That's right. We did Congo Bongo versus Altered Beast last time. That was my pick, and I picked Congo Bongo for Alex. He had some choice words for it, as did I. And it was a great episode. It's worth listening to.
It's a good episode, but I'm glad we're never going to have to talk about fucking Congo Bongo again.
Dude, so am I. We were saying earlier how it's like, if you type Congo Bongo versus Altered Beast, I'm the guy. It's me. It's my chance. This is what you came here for, folks. Nobody else on YouTube is doing Congo Bongo versus Altered Beast content like we are. Me and Alex of Turbo Zone.
Meeting one video. that's the content.
That's what you came here for, folks. What can I say?
So yeah, needless to say, Altered Beast won by a landslide. Fucking, it wasn't even a competition.
Yeah, we had come to a consensus that it didn't even need to be stated, but we stated it anyway. Altered Beast was the winner. But as always, we do encourage you to vote in the comments below as well. And so we do have a couple comments to read for you. I'll put them on the screen. Not much in the way of comments, but the first one was from you, Turbo Zone. Comment.
Hey.
That's what you wrote.
Oh shit! I think that was because there were no comments at the time.
That's right.
So I think I just wanted to leave one.
I appreciated your comment at that time. Let's not make this a replica of Altered Beast Congo Bongo. This is Golden Axe 3 versus Streets of Rage 3 today. It's exciting. But after you left your comment, we had a couple more trickle in. One from the Positiver saying Altered Beast ... After the Positiver, yep, that's it. After the Positiver, Ty Lord says Altered Beast FTW faux show. Agreed.
Nobody's talking about fucking Congo Bongo.
They don't even have to tell you about Altered Beast because the name speaks for itself. And then BioPhoenix Reviews here says, I don't think I ever touched Congo Bongo in my whole life, so Altered Beast it is.
Good choice.
Yes, you all made
the Battle of the
choice.
Beasts. Only one could come out on top, and it was the Altered Beast.
Spencer may have been a bit intimidated to show his love of Congo Bongo in the comments, but it's not too late. Spencer, you're more than welcome to tell us about your infatuation.
Let us know, Spencer. I know he's a big Congo Bongo head. I call him out on it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The resident Congo Bongo guy, you know. So, you know.
I'm like, I don't know how many times we've been doing the podcast. I'm like, Spencer, stop talking about Congo Bongo.
Dude, he won't shut up. I mean, he's
knock it off.
As soon as we're done recording, he's like, guys, did you beat my high score in Congo Bongo? You know,
guys, did you see level 3 in Congo Bongo with the alligators? I'm like, Spencer, shut up, dude. Stop talking about Congo Bongo.
Please, yes, because today we're not talking about Congo Bongo. It's a battle of the beat 'em ups. Mostly concluded. We do have a couple more beat 'em ups here, but we are completing the original trilogies, plural. Which are those, Alex?
Streets of Rage 3 and Golden Axe 3. It's round 3 of our trilogy. That's not the name of it, but it had a nice ring to it.
I like it. The trilogy. So yeah, we
So,
do
very
have
exciting.
2 previous episodes from the Golden Axe vs. Streets of Rage line. I'm very excited to get into it today. Streets of Rage won both times, so we're excited to see where this one goes. Who knows what the video holds?
Yeah. I forget. Do we do the reveals at the end of the episode?
We can do it at the end of the episode. So viewers, stay put.
Okay, cool.
We'll announce what's up for next time then. But for now, we got some games to throw down. And for those who don't know what a Turbo Throwdown is, this series,
Let's be
we
throwing
are
down.
pitting together the Sega Genesis classics and Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection for the PlayStation trilogy. Hey, he has it today. Let's go, matching Sonics.
The PS triple. Why is yours? Why does yours have the top and mine has the side for the PlayStation logo? You see that? Yours is like a later print than mine. Because this is like they use this gross Spider-Man font for a little bit on the side, and then they switch over to the top label.
Greatest
Like
hits.
yours.
That's why.
Yeah.
Is yours?
Well, I got
Greatest
the
Hits,
Spider-Man
or
edition.
yours is the original.
No, mine's just mine's not a hit. Mine's just the original. It wasn't a hit yet.
So we are excited to do the verses today with Golden Axe 3 and Streets of Rage 3. With that being said, Alex, I will turn it over to you to kick things off. Tell us, the viewers, about Golden Axe 3.
Dun, 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 dun. That's the music for the first Golden Axe. It's a good song. Golden Axe 3. This is the third Golden Axe game developed by Sega, and actually, what I don't think it's the first one developed solely for the Genesis. I think Streets of Rage 2. It's not Streets of Rage, Golden Axe 2 was a Genesis exclusive as well, but this one is notable for feeling more like a Genesis game. The Golden Axe 2 was very much in the same vein as the first title. It felt very arcade-like in nature. Streets of Rage 3... Fuck, I keep saying Streets of Rage, damn it. Golden Axe 3 feels more like they were trying to push it more as a console game. Coming out in 1993 in Japan and 1995 in North America. Why so late? That's because we didn't get an actual release of this game. We got it over the Sega channel, which, if you don't know anything about the Sega channel, it was a cartridge thing that you plugged into your Genesis, you hooked up to the internet, and you could download games. Certain games came out over here through the Sega channel, like Mega Man: The Wily Wars, Alien Soldier. There's another one that I know of that I can't think of off the top of my head, but this is one of those games. So we didn't actually get a cartridge of this one. Sorry, everybody that wants one. You have to import a Japanese copy. Golden Axe 3 is about a character named Damud Hellstrike, which is an awesome name, by the way. The Prince of Darkness has taken away the Golden Axe and put an evil curse over all the warriors. However, one of the heroes, I can't fucking read today. One of the heroes has their curse relieved and is sent to set things straight, lift the curse off the others, defeat the villain, and return the Golden Axe. That's the plot. What's special about Golden Axe 3 was it kind of felt like a refresh. The only returning character from the first two games is the dwarf character Gilius Thunderhead. And he's not actually playable, but he appears in cutscenes and kind of takes like a mentor role. Mm-hmm. In the original Japanese release of the game, the main characters are, and I'm going to read these names off of Wikipedia. You had a giant named Proud Cragger. He's like a big buff looking
dude, right?
Yeah, yeah. You had a humanoid Black Panther, not related to Marvel, named Kronos Evil Rate.
Chrono
Right? It's
Trigger.
like
Yeah.
Rait. Yeah, Chrono Trigger and Black Panther. That's a weird crossover there.
Yeah.
You had a swordsman named Kane Grinder, and I'll talk about this in a second. This is interesting. And another character a female swordsman her name is Sarah Byrne. Awful name. Um, Kane Grinder and Sarah Byrne in the U.S. version for Sega Channel, they had their names changed to Axe Battler and Tyrus Flair, who were the characters from the first two games. But
Right.
these actually are not those characters. But we just got those. They were like they look like just like the first two characters. So let's just make them that character in America, I guess.
They do look
So it really,
strikingly the same, like identical. Is
if
the
if I wouldn't have read it, I wouldn't have known. They look
yeah.
like Axe Battler and Tyrus Flair. When you're playing the Sega Channel version, which is the version on this collection, technically they are Axe Battler and Tyrus Flair, but they were intended to be new characters named Kane Grinder and Sarah Byrne. Awful name. And so yeah, you do have a wider selection of characters by one, and they all kind of have a unique aspect to them. The first two games also had unique aspects to the three characters, but they were very minimal in nature. And this one, the two new characters, Proud Cragger and Kronos, I'm just gonna call them Kronos, they are very different than the swordsman characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they very much, I think, changed the way the game feels and plays. There's a lot of cool changes in this game. A lot of things stay the same. You can still get beasts and ride on them. That's very much Golden Axe. You can still cast magic, save up your magic, and use different levels of magic. That's very much Golden Axe and kind of leads back to the RPG roots of the series. But one interesting aspect of this game is the fact that it's highly replayable because it has branching paths.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're playing through Golden Axe 3, at certain points in the stage, it'll ask you which way, there'll be a fork in the road. Do you want to go straight or do you want to go back through this door? And it'll lead on your overworld map. And in the first two games, the map was just a cute way to like show the cutscenes and like where the characters were going. And this one, it actually sort of serves a purpose because it shows which of the branches you took and like which area you're going to go to. So that maybe next time you want to play, you can keep track of which of the areas you've been to. So I thought that was a cool change from the first two games. Other than that, it's Golden Axe, baby. You're gonna beat up dudes. There's gonna be strong fights. There are actually boss fights, and they're not just like reused enemies like the first two games, just scaled up. The boss fights are, for the most part, original, and some are the other characters. Like it said, there's a curse on the other characters. So the character you pick, that's the hero, and then the other three characters, they're gonna appear somewhere in the game as like cursed versions of themselves. And once you beat them, they turn back to normal. So kind of a cool concept there to actually get to fight the other characters as you go through the story. Um, yeah, I'm excited to get into this game and talk about it because I think there's a lot here to talk about, and I don't want to give you my opinion yet because I want to do that in the positives and negatives. But I would like to say that the reception for this game is not great.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm reading the reception, and a lot of publications gave this game like a 50 or a 60 or a 5 out of 10s. A lot of them said that it was the worst one in the trilogy. Yeah, so keep that in the back of your mind because we're gonna bring that back up later. But overall reception for this game was not great. Maybe that's why it didn't get released outside of Japan, until the Sega Channel. But yeah, Golden Axe 3.
There's definitely a lot of unique things that I think they're experimenting with. I mean, the new characters, some of the, I mean, the plot's not too present, but I do think it does feel like its own unique game that it's not just another Golden Axe at this point.
Mhm. I agree with that. The new characters are very interesting. I actually like the idea of them bringing in like one giant dude, like big old dude, one like cat person, because it adds, like I said, different elements to the gameplay that you didn't get in the first two. The big dude, Krager, he's almost like all about like grappling almost. Like he's all about up close. Like he doesn't have a lot of range, but he's strong, you know. And then the cat guy, he has like he's fast. He can like you can actually sprint like on all fours. You know, then he has some cool like scratch attacks and stuff. He's not as strong, but he's like nimble. So I think the two new characters were pretty cool inclusions. So um, it was yeah, I like to see them experiment in that way.
Agreed. I played as the Panther for this playthrough. I was like, oh, let me try something different, and it felt totally different. It almost felt like a fighting game. Like you get up close and you scratch them, and then you can kind of grab them and like kind of bite in. So
Mhm.
different.
Cool. Well, that's basically gold. I almost said Streets of Rage. Damn it. That's basically Golden Axe 3. I don't know why I'm stuck on that. That's basically Golden Axe 3. We'll get into more in a second, but I'm gonna pass it to Teddy. Teddy, what's going on in the streets, man?
Well, it's not Golden Axe 3, but it is Streets of Rage 3. Now is the appropriate time to say it. Welcome back to the streets, everybody. The Streets of Rage. This is the third game in the trilogy, and perhaps one of the more controversial ones. There are some significant differences. There are some steps forward, there are some steps back, but it is the classic beat 'em up that you know and you love. I mean, it's the Genesis beat 'em up featuring iconic characters like Axel Stone, Blaze Fielding, and then also I think Skate returns, and then there's a new character named Dr. Zan, basically RoboCop, from what I'm gathering. So there's actually a bit more of a developed plot. There's explosives throughout the city, and you're trying to get rid of the explosives. And so, I don't know, this is pretty interesting. I'll read a little bit here. After being defeated twice, Syndicate crime boss Mr. X has started a research company called RoboSci Corporation to act as a cover for his illegal activities. The world's best roboticist, Dr. Dom, Dr. Zero in Japan, has been brought in to help him create an army of realistic robots to replace important officials from Wood Oak City. So the robot revolution will not be televised. Dr. Zan discovers what the research is really for and knows the syndicate must be stopped, and so on and so forth. And so from the start of the game, the aesthetic is kind of this metro futuristic vibe. It's actually probably one of the best looking out of the original three. It started with Streets of Rage 2 and it became visually impressive. I think this one takes it to the next level. Something about the animations and the background graphics are a spectacle. They are really nice to behold. I could think of a couple backgrounds that stood out, some moving parts. All of the stages are pretty dynamic, and they're really trying to go for this throw the story in your face thing. There's cut scenes, there's dialogue, there's like character portraits. They do look kind of muddy, but it's what it is. It's, you know, I can understand it for the time. So you'll also notice when you're starting the game the abominable soundtrack. And I mean, I'm being subjective here. I'll read a quote here and then we can talk about it later. But Yuzo Koshiro, the renowned orchestrator, I guess, or composer for the Streets of Rage series, as well as many other Sega titles, uses a different system for this game. So from the wiki, they say Koshiro created a new composition method called the Automated Composing System to produce fast beat techno-like jungle, and it was among the most advanced electronic music creation technique, incorporating heavily randomized sequences. And many times when you're listening, it just sounds like repeated loops of things on a soundboard. It's a very bizarre soundtrack, to be kind of objective. And it is not the classic soundtracks that you know and remember from the first two games. So that takes some adjustment, because I do think that the music is a bit of an identity for the series, and it's just not the same. It's very different. And for a lot of reviewers, that was divisive at the time. Nevertheless, people seem to really like it. The reception's pretty good. It averages around 80 or like 4 stars. And I think one of the things people also like is that the combat system is kind of new. You can dash as the characters, so it kind of has the Golden Axe feel. You can also do a couple like powered up moves. So from Streets of Rage 2, they replaced the cop car with like the special punch and attack system with you where you use your own health to do like a kind of like get invincibility frames and do hits. In this one, you have a charging power bar that you can use for those special attacks, and it can be strategic when you're using it. I played as Axel, so one thing I did is I would dash twice and then uppercut, and it's called bare knuckle, which is interesting because I think what is bare knuckle? Bare knuckle's the name of the game in Japan, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the name of the series in Japan.
So I thought that was like an interesting little, I don't know, Easter egg, so to speak. At one point, you're fighting a kangaroo. So that's pretty funny. There's a couple unlockable characters. So they're doing different things with this game. It is a different Streets of Rage experience, to say the least.
Yeah, this game is interesting, and I don't want to again. I don't want to give my side just yet, but this game is interesting to see where they decided to go from the success of Streets of Rage 2, which is heralded as like an all-time classic, and the not only in like the Genesis library, but in like in the genre. Um, so it is interesting to see where like their choices to take it in this more like wacky or science fiction almost approach to the franchise. Um, you know, you do fight a kangaroo. that's true. So like they were dipping their toes in it before. Like the first game had Skate, which Skate's a little kid with boxing gloves on skates. Like it's stupid, yeah, but like this game has robots and kangaroos, so uh, they took it a step further, and we'll talk about that later on. But um, yeah, weird direction to take it, interesting direction to take it, I should say, for a follow up, and yeah, I mean it's still Streets of Rage.
Yeah, can't argue that. This is Streets of Rage. But one thing we will do is discuss the pros and cons for each. So we're going to do the pros and cons of Golden Axe 3 first. Starting positive. Let's talk pros. What are some pros for Golden Axe 3?
The first pro is definitely the characters. Maybe not the main two, Axe Battler and Tyrus Flair, or Kane Grinder and Sarah Byrne. What an awful name. They're basically the same characters as before. But the addition of the two new characters, I think, spices the game up quite a bit, and gives enough variety, to want to play through. I like the fact that they, just like the first two games, they each have a different style of magic and different levels of magic you can use. So it's fun to play as the two new characters and see what kind of magic, spells they can cast and what kind of attack animations they have. And I think that was a very smart move for this game.
Yeah, and it's a little more variety. I mean, we'll see with each that there's 4 characters, but I do like the variety amongst characters. They all feel pretty different. I mean, you're talking a literal humanoid, panther. Like that's pretty neat. And then like this oversized, barbarian dude. So pretty cool. I also appreciate seeing Gilius, in the beginning. That's a nice little Easter egg in and of itself. And this game is tried and true. I think that they really, I wouldn't say they advanced the formula too much, but they kept what was already great about the first 2 games intact.
Yeah, I think the game looks good. Maybe not as good as, say, the Streets of Rage games, but I think it is a step up from the first 2 Golden Axe games in terms of its presentation. And there's like, again, I like the branching path system. I think is very cool for a beat 'em up, and it's something that I would have liked to see it explored even further. And there's some really cool set pieces. I think of that first one where you're on that wagon and there's like the like stampede of like those snail things, that are running past you and stuff. Like, yeah, like there's some cool set pieces throughout the game as you play through each of the different branches. So that itself kind of helps it to stand out from the first two Golden Axe games, which didn't have a lot of set pieces. They had a lot of interesting backgrounds. But you mainly just in the first two games, you mainly just walked from one end to the other, and a skeleton or something will pop up, and you fight it. But in this one, they actually did add in those little set piece moments that made the areas feel kind of cool and unique.
I agree. And, branching paths adds to that thrill. There was like a little bit of that, and maybe it was one or two, but like where you could like go lower the higher route, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
significant towards your progression in the game. One thing I will say that I really appreciate about this one, and maybe it's just because I was playing as the Panther dude, but this is I play all of these games single player. This one was the most fair of the three to me, and the one that I felt like I was able to progress the most easily in. It actually throws a couple one ups your way, so I appreciate that. And then I happen to like specials. Like I like that about the first Streets of Rage is you get to call the cop car and they just fire the nukes. But with this one, I mean, you get the potion system and you can kind of exploit it as well. Stock up on them, and you see the little garden gnomes run out with their satchels, and then you kick them, and they come back too in interesting and cute little ways. I mean, in between each stage, they always do something different in this one. Just that little like touch, that little flavor. Like I could think of one, they're like climbing down from vines, and then you have to hit them when they climb down from the vines, or another one where they burrow out of tunnels. And so I thought that was really cute.
Well, not only does it feel more fair, I think, than the first two games, but they also expanded your moves.
Yeah.
You can actually block attacks, you can do sweep attacks, and you have projectile attacks, along with the grappling and stuff that you had in the first game and stuff. So the first two games. So they actually kind of expanded upon the gameplay a little more to make it feel a little more closer to like a beat 'em up like Streets of Rage, which I think adds to the fairness of the game. I think it makes you feel like you're more capable than you were in the first two games, where your only means of attack really were swinging around.
And dinosaurs.
And dinosaurs that breathe fire, which are awesome. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the snails are not to be fucked with. They are significant threats.
Dude, don't fuck with the snails, dude. The snails are awesome.
Evolution has done the snails dirty. If they were anything like they were back in the Golden Axe days, the snails would be a big threat.
I like how you just weaved Golden Axe 3 into like human history. Man, back in Golden Axe 3, the snails were fucking awesome. What happened? The snails suck now.
You've heard of the Golden Era. Well, this is the Golden Axe era.
All right. You want to jump into positives for yours?
No, let's do cons. Just let's keep the.
You want to do negatives for mine? Okay.
Yeah.
Negatives for Golden Axe 3. I want to hear what you have first.
I don't have many. But I will say, I guess we could start with that maybe it like hasn't advanced the formula too much. It does stick with what it works, which is not necessarily like a negative. It could be taken either way, but you could see this like, I mean, as if I'm empathizing with the reviewer perspective from back in the day, they wanted more out of this game and it didn't deliver.
I actually don't agree with that, but with the reviewers. But
right.
I do. While the game does look good, it looks really nice. I don't think it stands up to other games released in '95 or even '93.
Right.
For Japan's sake. Yeah. There's a lot of other it looks good. Don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of other Genesis games at the time looked better. I'm thinking, especially '95. Jesus, I mean, all three Streets of Rage games were out at that point. Fucking Comic Zone was out at that point, which Comic Zone looks fucking immaculate. That game looks amazing. There were a lot of better looking beat 'em ups on the market. So maybe I could see that. This does look like it would have been. This reminds me of that, like, I don't remember what it was called because it was localized here, but what was that fucking Fist of the North Star game? That like launched with the Genesis and then it got called something else. It was like Action Guy or something, Action Battle. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a game where you just punch dudes. Yeah, like it has almost like a flat look to it. That reminds me of like an earlier Genesis game, which isn't a bad thing per se, but for '95, especially whenever we got it, yeah, It looks a little old. Looks a
Yeah,
little
I think
crusty.
even Golden Axe 2 might look better than this game in some respects. Like I think of that volcano level, and there were some pretty good effects there. And this one, yeah, there's some parallax scrolling, and the backgrounds are moving, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's
Also,
very ho hum. I think.
I will say I'm looking at my footage, and I used the Panther, and his special move was literally just it looked like a CRT TV when it's in static.
Oh yeah, yeah. He had like that was like his level one. It was like I don't remember. Was this snow or something? Was this like a snow thing?
You got me. It's wind, it's
I
static,
don't
it's
remember.
snow, it's
I know
something.
the because whenever I played recently, I played as the barbarian dude, who was fun. Like I said, because he was like a very different type of character. But I think his was like rocks, like he has like stones, big boulders and stuff. So it's been a minute since I've used the panther. Um, so I couldn't tell you. Maybe he just has really bad dandruff, you know?
What a special.
Yeah, especially he just has bad dandruff.
Yeah. It'll kill anyone that much dandruff, you know? That's magic.
He needs to, yeah, he needs to get some head and shoulders.
Do you have negatives?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned the visuals. I don't have a lot though, honestly. So no.
I
I
did
mean,
have one
I'm
moment
trying to remember.
where like the cart was moving in the second stage, and then the Panther dude just like acts like his attack was like jump off of the person, and he jumped off of the stage, and I was a
Yeah,
little annoyed
I've
by
done that before. I have done that before.
that.
As the Panther, you gotta watch that. Um, you know, yeah, he does have an attack that just launches him back. So, watch out if you're playing as Kronos.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I mean, overall, it is a good game. Like, I don't have too much bad to say about it. Is it the most
Yeah,
impressive game? I don't think so, but it's
I
good.
I don't get where the review. Okay, I guess I can sort of see some of the where the reviews are coming from because it hasn't advanced that much from the first two games. But I think it's better than the first two games. And g- saying that this game is a 5 out of 10 is saying that the other two games is like a 4, you know, or something. In my opinion, I don't understand where the reception was at the time. Maybe that's just one of those things that like reviewers hated it back then, but it's aged better, you know. But I like this game, so I don't understand that.
You can let us know in the comments below where do you stand on Golden Axe 3. But we will get into, I think, one that people have a more uniform opinion on, which is Streets of Rage 3 pros and cons.
Ready to get the pros? Get the pros on?
Yeah, let's do the
Get the
pros.
get the Prozac?
What's one pro for Streets of Rage 3?
Dude, this game's fucking beautiful. I'll give it that.
It's a looker, all right.
If there's one thing, oh yeah, yeah. If there's one thing they did progress throughout the Streets of Rage franchise, man, it's the visuals. This is up there with Comic Zone as being just really great looking game for the Genesis console, not counting the CD or 32X, just Genesis. Like this game looks really fucking good. The animations are fantastic. The character models look great. Like it's just a really pleasing game. That's probably my favorite character model for Axel or Skate, who's the character I usually use as Skate. It's from this game. Like they just look really cool.
Yeah, and I know I was clowning on like the little character portraits, but I do think they look like there's a cute charm to it, seeing them on screen and then it appear next to their dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think like the specials, like even the regular attacks, they really do feel like satisfying. They look satisfying and they feel satisfying. Seeing bare knuckle and then like the flaming fist is great.
Bad knuckle.
I like his little like sandbag puncher. I play as Axel. Who do you play as?
Skate.
Oh.
I'm a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy."
She being
Uh,
Blaze.
I believe you can also, if you put in in-game codes, and I knew about this, but I've never actually explored it that much. But you can play as some of the other characters, including the kangaroo named Roo.
So I thought
Um,
that was like based in how you played. Like if you save the kangaroo, like if you don't kill or if you don't kill
I
him.
don't. I'm looking at the Wikipedia and it says three of the game's bosses can be accessed through in-game codes. First mid boss, a wow, Jesus, a homosexual named Ash. Why does okay Wikipedia was removed from the Western release of the game. Okay,
I have
Shiva,
here,
the martial artist. I know who that is. So
right.
Shiva and Rue.
It says by fulfilling certain conditions, two bonus characters,
Mm.
Shiva and Rue, can be unlocked, with the third unlockable character, Ash, being exclusive to the Japanese release. That was before Pokemon signed to Nintendo and
It
GameCube.
was too gay for us. Ash was too gay for us. Apparently, that's what there's. That's,
Yeah, they were
that's
trying
what.
to keep
That's
like the
what
hard,
Wikipedia
aesthetic for Genesis. Genesis does like Nintendo attitude, and Ash was too in his feelings.
Genesis
So,
does more like Genesis does dudes apparently.
hey,
Um,
Japan only.
yeah. So, because I thought you could get the kangaroo, but I've never done it. But I thought that was a thing you could do. So I'm happy to see that it is in fact a thing you could do. So I guess it's a positive if you ever want to play as a kangaroo, this is your game.
How would that work? That you'd have to beat the game and then play it immediately after. No, because there's no save
Yeah,
value.
because it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't save. I guess that's why it's also a cheat. Maybe you could just put a
Mm,
cheat code.
okay.
You know, so,
Well, unlockable characters. That's a
whatever.
plus, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool. So that means that technically that means you have what 6 characters, 7 if you're playing the Japanese release.
Yep.
So, you know.
Combat
And one of
system's
them's
pretty
gay.
sound. Not gay.
Yeah, the combat's good. I don't want to talk about this aspect of it yet, but it's good, but also Streets of Rage 2, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
like it doesn't feel like that much of an improvement, I guess.
Sure.
But it is good, you know.
Yeah. It's functional. It gets the job done. I
Yeah.
think my pros are starting to wind down there. It's a good looker and
Dr.
it plays all
Uh,
right.
Dr. Zan is funny. All right, we'll get the negatives.
Yeah, starting with Dr. Zan. I have no problems with Dr.
Dr.
Zan.
Zan.
Okay, just let's get that out of the way. But I do think that I don't give a shit about the story. So when you're like these cutscenes are coming up, it's not that important to me.
Yeah, what a weird direction for this game. I've never cared for this direction in this title, the weird science fiction way that they took it. And there are aspects of this also in the fourth game, by the way, which I love, Streets of Rage 4. But I feel like they're almost in that fourth game because this game happened, and they have to like. It happened, so they have to keep it in there now. But like, this is the root of the problem. Like, I feel like after the second Streets of Rage game, they were like, we need to like freshen up the franchise, and then they were like, okay, what if we just threw in robots?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I guess, you know, and it just kind of feels like a lazy way to bring something new to the table. You know, I think back to that first Streets of Rage game where you're fighting. Yes, there are like stupid bosses that like juggle axes or something, you know, but like none of it felt that outlandish in that first game, you know, like you're walking on beaches and bridges and stuff, and then you go to this game and you're fighting fucking robots and like bio monsters and shit. It's like what the fuck am I playing now? What is this game?
Yeah, something about it for Streets of Rage 2 worked. Like I could think like you're in this fair section, like this carnival, and then but it's like dark out, and then there's like this weird like spider thing. Okay, I'll give it benefit of the doubt because it's like it's creative. But stages in this one, like past like the first stage, second stage, they get bad. There's one part where there's this guy driving a bulldozer chasing you, and you have to break down the walls in order to keep
Oh
progressing.
yeah.
And unless you have a fully charged special and then you use invincibility frames, you're gonna lose at least one life there. That's one. What happens in the next stage?
Yep.
Oh, they have freaking rotating mine carts on the top and the bottom half of the screen. These are not good stage mechanics.
Yeah. And look, you explained how advanced and cool the system was for making the soundtrack. And look, I give all my respect to Yuzo Koshiro, okay? Great guy. Yo, this soundtrack kind of fucking sucks. This soundtrack's garbage. Which is a crime. It's a crime because the first two games had amazing soundtracks, man. And like, I get, like, again, he wanted to try something different. The techno angle, I understand because of the science fiction, but yeah, it just sort of sounds like random loops and stuff. It doesn't feel cohesive, I think.
Dude, this is so bad. So it features influences from Detroit's hard techno scene, which was popular in Tokyo nightclubs at the time of the game's development. Man, they should have kept that in Detroit. This is not Streets of Rage. This is sacrilege. It's disgusting. I played this game like with the volume on, waiting for one song that would feel like Streets of Rage, and it never happened. It's insufferable.
Dude, I can't think of music from this game. Like, I can't. Like, I can think of music from the first two games right off the top of my head. Like, it's super easy because they're fucking amazing soundtracks. You asked me to like hum you a song from Streets of Rage 3, and I can't do it. I mean, I can even do game like I could do songs from the fourth game as well. I can't do anything from 3, and so it's like in terms of the soundtracks, this game is like the black sheep of its family. It's not good.
Yeah, I mentioned it, but not as a pro. It's a facet, an unignorable.
Yeah, it's
facet.
there.
Golden Axe 3 has
exists.
an infinitely better soundtrack than this.
Yeah, and it's not amazing, but it's like it's fun and listenable. You know, it's like you almost want to put on like mute this game and put on a podcast.
That's
if you're
what
gonna play Streets of Rage 3. Yeah. Yeah. This is another one where I'm looking at the critical reception. And I get it. Streets of Rage was like the darling of the Genesis console at the time. People fucking loved it. You know, this game was probably very hyped up. You know, I can imagine this game. This game released in '94. I can imagine this game being, you know, heralded as like the second coming of Christ in a way. Like, oh man, if you have a Genesis and you love the first two, you got to get 3. But I don't understand the scores because I don't think this game holds a candle to Streets of Rage 2. So, yeah, it's interesting to see like 90s, like, you know, like high scores like that, like 8s and 9s.
Bizarre, yeah. It's like, well, they're ignoring the elephant in the room. Like you said, it's a darling, right? So yeah. I understand the things it does well. I also understand the things it does abysmally. And there are several unignorable things. So, Yuzo Koshiro, this is not your finest work. I will play music in this video, just for the viewers. No. And if call it music like if you want, I will play.
It's it's up there with the fucking Columns theme, dude.
I will play sounds from this game. Enjoy. If you can.
sounds from Streets of Rage 3. um, all right, man.
Ready to vote?
Are you ready? Are you ready to throw down? Well, we're not throwing down, we're voting, but you
It's
know.
time.
It's time for a
All right.
Turbo Throwdown!
You want to do a countdown?
Yep. A Golden Axe 3.
Golden Axe
Streets of
3.
Rage 2.
There's 2.
Golden Rage 1?
Congo Bongo 1. Oh, sorry.
You know, you're right.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Golden Axe 3.
Yeah.
Golden Axe 3 all the way. Look, and for anybody that's gonna come at us, and Teddy can explain why he picked this game in a second. I understand the legacy of Streets of Rage. The first 2 games are fantastic. That this game is not terrible. Streets of Rage 3 is not a bad game. But just compared to the first 2 games, it is definitely not. This is the lowest point to me in the Streets of Rage franchise. As you look on the other side of the pond, and Golden Axe 3 to me is the highest point of that Genesis trilogy. So I think it's easily the winner here.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I mean, I'm of a similar mindset. I just think that, like, Streets of Rage 3, like, for every step it takes forward, it takes 2 steps back. Worst stages, horrible soundtrack, which wouldn't be a problem if the first 2 games didn't already have iconic soundtracks. And, like, I want something fun to listen like to from the game when I'm playing like this beat 'em up. With Golden Axe, I'm not expecting it, and I'm definitely not expecting like grating noise on my ears. So if that was in Golden Axe as well, I would be calling it out. It was never grating at any point. So this is disgusting. Like I'm offended by Streets of Rage 3 in some respects. Not to the point I'm gonna like take up arms over it, but it's like you gotta call it out. Please tell me who's got this in their freaking playlists, you know, that you actively listen to. I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's Streets of Rage 3 is a worse Streets of Rage 2. And that alone, I think, puts it back quite a bit. Golden Axe 3 is just a good Golden Axe game. And like, yeah, it's a Golden Axe game, and like maybe the reviewers at the time were right, like it doesn't do that much different. But it's a good Golden Axe game. Like, there's not much that you can say about it. That's like, oh, that sucks, you know. Like,
Well, congratulations
comparison,
to Golden Axe 3.
we finally got Golden Axe through. Hey,
Lord,
it'll be on. It's moving on up. I'm happy to see. Technically, this isn't the last Golden Axe we have to talk about because we do have to do. What the fuck is that game? Axe battle at some Death Battler, Axe Warrior, Death Warrior,
Golden Axe Warrior.
Warrior. Thank you. Yeah, that game. So we do have to do that at some point. So technically, Golden Axe has another chance, but I'm happy to see one of the beat 'em ups make it. So, Teddy, it's your turn to choose, buddy.
Yeah. Let's see how many we have left.
And,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more matchups. So the next
1,
one will
2,
be
3, 4, 5. Everybody play Golden Axe and jive. I'm sorry.
Space Harrier versus Shinobi.
Hey, what am I?
You are Space Harrier. And
I'm
I
fine
am
with that.
Shinobi.
I'm fine with both. Actually, I just wanted to.
So stay tuned for
Cool.
that throwdown. Very exciting.
Nice, classic Sega. Dude, Yu Suzuki versus I don't know who did Shinobi. not Yu Suzuki.
Definitely not. Nah.
The other guy.
The other
Tom.
ninja guy.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this episode. Do you agree? Tell us why you love Streets of Rage 3, and we won't change our vote, but we'll like the comment. We'll give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, we'll read it next episode, perhaps.
Yeah. So, see us next time on Turbo Throwdown.
Throwdown.
Yeah, dude.